And welcome into episode 11 for What It's Worth. I'm your host, Calvin Silvers. I am joined by Tyrone, Thornton, and it's just a two-man crew. It's just us rocking this one today. We're going to be talking about the NFL draft, just kind of looking back at the first round mostly, but also Ty's going to break down some of the Denver picks that he liked later on, and then I'll talk a little bit Chiefs because those are two teams that we follow and are fans of. But before we get into all that, before we have all this fun, Tyrone, how have you been? It's been a week since we talked. So how you doing, man?
Same old, same old. I'm just ready to get to the summertime. I'm ready. I'm ready for
Yeah,
real
for real.
summertime action. Spring has been fine, but it's getting to that point where I needed to be like, wake up, 11 a.m. Just maybe give me a couple of days like that, and
Oh
I'll be
yes,
fine.
man. I'm gonna say that's me. That's me on all off days. I'm sleeping in, but there's something about that summer sleeping.
That hits
Nothing.
different, but
It
I
hits.
really don't
It
have
hits
nothing to
different.
do. Maybe not till 2 or 3 or like 4 or something, but the morning time,
Exactly.
oh man, boy, just pure, just like I'm about to just do things that improve my life.
I was gonna say it feels like you can tack the whole day. There's nothing that's gonna hold you back. And 95% of the time, I'd say the weather's nice. You could bank on a good day. Sure, some of them might be a little hot, but
You
you're
can go
not.
on. You can just wake up and go on a walk.
That's what I was saying.
I can't do that right now. I got to wake up and
Mm.
think about stuff.
Well, I mean, not only that, it's like the past couple days, it's just been nothing but rain and tornadoes and whatnot. So
Facts.
it's
Hey, no, hey, prayers to Omaha because it was
yeah,
doing. Hey, I seen some videos. That stuff actually looked like cartoonish. Like that's an
dude,
actual
movie like
tornado.
an actual movie type
That's like
stuff.
a
It's
literal like.
unreal.
If you told me draw a tornado, I'd be like that. Like I'll draw it just like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Prayers to, people in Iowa, Nebraska, Oklahoma. Luckily, we were, we avoided all that. We got some, I don't know about you. I mean, we're not too far away from each other, but we
Did the
got pretty
sirens
heavy
go
rain.
off?
Once, I think, I don't really remember because I felt like I could hear sirens, but then I was like, if those were sirens, I feel like they'd be a lot louder because you got to cover the whole city. But
Where are those? Where are those sirens at?
I don't know. I really don't know. I actually don't know.
Because hey, they cover some distance,
Distance.
like literally distance.
So that raises the question. Then it's like if you're closer to that, where the sirens go off. Like if you live close to that, is that like actually just deafening? Like
It
you can't
has to
hear it.
be like
That's
literally. Like I probably
that's
think
what,
there's a war going on.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm gonna have to look into. That's actually a great question. I never thought about that.
Because I
Right.
feel like they have to be super ginormous. They have to be a super big.
Or do they
Like,
have like multiple maybe,
oh, that's
and they all
true.
go
Just
off at the same time?
that's
That
true.
might
Got them
be it.
just put them in trees or something.
See, you could tell that we're more. We're not even experts necessarily in sports, but we're definitely not experts here in tornadoes and or weather. So
Facts.
our guess is as good as anyone's. But if you guys know, go ahead, throw it in the comments. I mean, I'll probably look this up on Google later, but it still would be nice to know in the comments. But let's go ahead and jump into the draft. And no surprise, Caleb Williams was the first selection off the board to the Chicago Bears. And my question is, Tyrone, for you, let's be real here. I know we're all excited. We're all hyped. They got some beautiful pieces, the Chicago Bears. Let's be realistic, man. What do you expect them to get done with Caleb Williams this year, this upcoming year?
This year, playoff. They got to make the playoffs. Their team is playoff ready right now. This all the stuff they did on their offense, getting him all these weapons. Those aren't moves you make just to like play some games and win. Like Caleb Williams is literally like I feel like we're using this word more and more every year and it's taking away the meaning, but he is truly a generational prospect. I'll probably say he's the last generational prospect in my opinion was Trevor Lawrence, and I feel like Caleb definitely he fits the definition of that. And if I draft a generational player, I need to see generational results.
Yeah, no, and I agree, and I'll get to my realistic expectation here in a second. But as you mentioned, you have all these really nice pieces around Caleb Williams. He is coming into a situation that a lot of people would really want, something that Justin Fields would probably wish he had when he was coming into Chicago. But as mentioned, you're adding DeAndre Swift. He's coming off his best season since joining the league in 2020. DJ Moore is coming off a season with the second most targets in his career. But the most yards. So he was implemented last year. He's a key figure in this offense. Keenan Allen, he's coming off a 1,000-year receiving season. So he adds some veteran leadership to that wide receiver room. You have your tight end, Cole Kmet. He had 13 touchdowns the past 2 seasons, 4 less than Travis Kelce. So I mentioned all that, right? Realistically, they get 8 to 10 wins this upcoming season with Caleb Williams as their quarterback. Let's not forget, it's not like they made some big move in their head coach. That this is the same head coach I was working with Justin Fields. This was the same head coach that, you know what I mean? And so realistically, 8 to 10 wins. You're still in the NFC North. That's still like that's really tough, Tyrone. I know the Lions aren't what they were last year, and they're still tough. Packers they're looking like they could be dangerous. Vikings, we'll get to that here in a second. I think they're better than the Vikings, but Vikings are someone to worry about. So even in the NFC North, they finish best second, but I think probably third.
I'd say that's probably where they're at, where Vegas has them. But I really think that if you're the Chicago Bears, I would be really looking at what the Texans did last year and saying that is probably our bar barometer just to where we at. I don't think that.
See, that's going to be dangerous. That's dangerous.
I just think that's what it is. And even
you can't start doing that with.
Nah,
you can't start doing that.
There is no
because rookie quarterbacks were already only given 1 to 2, not 1, but usually only given 2 to 3 years. All right, and it's you're done. If you can't get something impressive going, you're done most of the time. Now you want to have this whole expectation that now you got to be almost on CJ Stroud's level. You got to be on no, dude. No, that's asking too much for some of these people.
He's supposed to be generational. Like that is, I think that like where you're drafted at means something. He is the first overall pick. He was confirmed the first overall pick for so long. Like being the number 1 overall pick to me, especially in a class like this, which I think is a special draft class. Like
it's a great draft class. It's not.
You have to have like it is. I think it is special. There is 12 offensive players drafted in a row. There is 6 quarterbacks drafted in the top 12 picks. That one of those guys has to be special. You can't tell me out of those 6 QBs, one of them.
If we're talking just those offensive players, definitely. If we're just talking quarterbacks, I mean, yeah, one of us. What's your definition? I guess we might be digging a rabbit hole here. What's your definition of special?
Special, like once in a generational time player. Like you will be a one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this league for a long period of time. Which that is
Super Bowl winner.
We should be in contention to win the Super Bowl almost every single year. You're the first overall pick, the number one overall. It wasn't even debated. Anybody else? Caleb Williams. Like, no, nobody. If Caleb Williams wouldn't have went first, that would have single-handedly been one of the most craziest things ever. And I think that
I think it would have been a lot of head scratchers.
That president right there means that, hey, we have to hit this ground running. I think the Bears, where the Texans are this year, I think the Bears think in their mind they're right there with them.
I think I'd agree that I think in the Bears' minds, yeah, they can do that. They can replicate that. I don't know, man. I don't think that first year it's there. If they get 10, like I said, 8 to 10, if they get the 10, that matches the Texans, then yeah, you could argue they matched it. They were there. They accomplished it. I think they might be at just a couple games less than that. I think the Texans got a spark, man. It was fun. It was exciting. I think we're kind of comparing offenses too. We're not really looking at defenses of both of those teams. I think that's another factor, but
who would you say was the better quarterback coming out of college? Who's more equipped coming out of college? Let's say we did not see a race what CJ just did. Coming out of school, just right now, freshly draft. Who would you take?
Between CJ and Caleb, I'd go Caleb.
So we're going with Caleb. This year, Caleb Williams has a better team. The Bears are probably going to be I don't know. The Texans tough, last year. I would like to think that the Texans offense last year, before they made all these new additions, I would like to think the Bears are a step ahead of them. I think CJ did less with more, but Caleb is in a position where he has to do more with more.
I will say that I think Williams does have a little more to him than CJ Stroud had. I don't know. I still think 8 to 10 wins is realistic for them. I think the highest they get is second in the NFC North. I think, I mean, obviously the worst would be 4, but I don't think they finish 4th. I think they finish worst at 3rd. I think they finish ahead of the Vikings. And like I said, we'll get to that in a second. Anything else you want to talk about with Caleb Williams and the Bears?
Caleb Williams has a great chance to be the greatest Bears quarterback of all time, and I don't think it'll really be hard as well. Within the past 20 years, it's just Jay Cutler. I would like to think that he could easily hop over Jay
He could be
Cutler's
better
career.
than Jay Cutler. I agree with you there. He has a chance to, go down as a well-known. I mean, he's going to go down as a well-known Chicago Bears quarterback, bust or not, because if he's a bust, he had all this hype. He was supposed to be better than Fields. Everyone's going to talk about that. If he succeeds and goes crazy, well, everyone's going to talk about that. Here's a head scratcher, at least in my eyes, that we're going to talk about. Very confusing pick, and that was Atlanta with their 8th pick and selecting Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback out of Washington. And this is insane to me due to the fact that they signed former Minnesota Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins in the offseason to a 4-year, $180 million deal with $100 million guaranteed. $100 million of that is guaranteed to him. And then you go and you pick up Penix with the 8th pick. I don't get it. Tyrone, before I get into my spiel of why I think it's confusing and it wasn't the right pick, maybe you think it is. What are your opinions on this one?
No, this is terrible. This is like,
It's terrible.
I mean, obviously, me and you are not general managers in the NFL, but things like this make me really feel like I could just do it. Like, I just wouldn't have said that. Like, why would you do that?
Why would you do it?
To me, this
when
goes
you
back,
need defense.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. This goes back a little bit farther to me because I probably should put it up. I have a Lamar flag probably just waving around behind me at all points. I remember last year, the Falcons, who had Desmond Ridder as their quarterback, did not want to sign Lamar Jackson. So they do that. They sign Kirk Cousins coming off of Achilles. Say what you want about Kirk Cousins. I'm not a big fan of you signing him either. But guaranteeing that much money, then drafting somebody that is 24 years old. He is the same. He's 24 years old. This is not a young guy. He's not young.
No.
Not at all. He's old. He's almost an old head.
Yep.
I think that they got too cute.
Yeah. No, they got too cute. They overthought it. Like let me break this down because everything that you said I agree with. So I'll break it down. I'll start with the age thing first. He is 24 years old. And there's stats. You can look it up right now. I looked it up before we recorded this podcast. I like to be right here in my thinking, and I like to back that up. The stats show the older you are from 21 to 24, like when you are 23, 24, your chances of succeeding or being a starter or staying in the NFL are drastically lower than 21, 22. Drastically lower. It's because you've already had these mechanics down. You already have your habits down. It's hard to break those when you've been doing it for so long. Well, when you get a kid that's only 20, 21, you can break those early or get him on different habits. So there's one thing that you brought up. This is almost a moot point in a sense because it hasn't happened necessarily in a while. But we were talking about, Kirk Cousins, and I'll get to that, and his Achilles injury. Michael Penix is not a good, reliable backup, and when it comes to injuries as well. Like I said, it's been a second since a major injury, but torn right ACL twice, a shoulder clavicle fracture, and a shoulder AC joint separation. So you're messing with his shoulder arms throwing, and he likes to move. Well, he's torn his ACL twice.
Yeah, he's like that dude off SpongeBob.
My legs are the guy that's like paper skin, but
yeah,
falls down the stairs.
Literally, like I don't like. The thing is though, like I actually like Michael Penix. I think he actually would be a fairly good quarterback if he had his chance in the right situation. But like this seemed like a desperate move for a team that was not in a desperate situation. Like why? Yeah. The thing is that you could have waited to draft him too. You didn't. There was no guarantee.
That's what I'm saying.
You didn't have to wait. Like if you could have drafted a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round, that is fine, or any quarterback. But
Or
with the
just
eighth
wait.
overall pick, that's just like why? Why?
That's why. Yeah, don't give me the well for the future. Wait a couple drafts. Don't you can't tell me that Michael Penix he's a good quarterback. He's not a franchise changing quarterback in my eyes.
No,
And
no.
that's
I mean,
like I said. And if your thing is well, Kirk Cousins is coming off an Achilles, he wants some kind of valuable backup. Why would you give Kirk Cousins
yeah.
$100 million guaranteed? Why would you give him 4 years, 4 years, 140? Why would you ever do that in your right mind if you're that scared? If you are that scared that something bad's going
No.
to happen to Kirk Cousins, why would you ever do that? What you should have done then is not give him that kind of money, waited, just drafted Michael Penix Jr., spent that money on giving him weapons around him and just hope you catch lightning in a bottle because you gave him the right situation, like you said. Maybe he could thrive in a situation like that.
No, you're 100% right. Like, that is not even bad GMing. That's just bad money management. Like, I wouldn't
It's
do that.
terrible.
I wouldn't do that with like if I bought a car that was really nice. I'm not about to buy another car. Like, why would I do that? You already
Why?
spent and invested all of your money into this nice car. Why would I go get this other car that I'm not about to drive? And that is just that. Those are the things that make me think like, how did like maybe I shouldn't judge that hard. I'm like, how did he get that far by making it? I feel like that's a fireable offense. Like, I
Yeah.
really do feel like that is a fireable offense.
I feel
And
like some kind of job security has to be on the line, like hot seat already.
I've heard that. I mean, I've heard the mindset of like he did that to buy himself more time because you can't really fire him if his quarterback that he drafted is not playing as a GM. But at the same time, that I think that is just crazy though. I think that
Well,
is crazy. This doesn't. What needles does this move?
well,
Did they
I
get
and
close to winning the Super Bowl? No, they didn't. Like, to me, it got worse. Your positional value in the draft, you ruined it. Like, I sometimes I sometimes feel like taking the best player available is what's wrong with that? What's wrong with taking that eighth best guy that they said was in this mock draft? You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If all these other guys, said that he's the eighth best, I would, if I really did not know who to pick, I would do that. Or I'll trade the pick. Or I would just
yeah,
trade the pick. I would not be like, all right, you know what? Let's switch it up. No, this is not the time to shake nothing up.
no, and like I said, yeah, okay, then don't pay Kirk Cousins that money. Draft Michael Penix, and then give him some weapons. Like spend some money around and give him some weapons. You didn't even need to do that. The previous drafts, you have had a top 10 picks. You have picked 3 offensive players in top 10. You go get a defensive player. Why are you now getting a quarterback? So I really don't understand the thinking. And but here's where I think it stems from. Here's why I think they ultimately did it. I'm still confused, but this is like the only rational thing that I can think of is because they are scared of what was last year's nightmare at quarterback position. Like I said, you drafted a top 10 player you used a top 10 pick on an offensive player the last 3 drafts, right? Well, leading those draft picks, you had Marcus Mariota, Desmond Ritter, and Taylor Heineke. Like they're scared, man. Like we're wasting. We've gotten these picks. We've gotten a receiver, this and that, but it's being wasted by these quarterbacks. So I feel like they just felt like this was a good way to quickly build that quarterback room with potential because those guys don't. Marcus Mariota, they don't have potential. Like we know what they
No,
are.
they
That's
are what
the
they are.
only rational thinking that I have with why the Falcons would even consider doing that. Is
The
because they were
thing,
scared of what was last year.
the thing is too that they automatically just created probably one of the most toxic work environments ever. Because if I was Kirk Cousins, like even if he's a nice guy or not, that like there's no way that you're just like what like, come on, you guys just drafted a quarterback and you just signed me with the eighth overall pick. It'd be one thing if this was the 178th pick. This was the eighth overall pick in the draft, and I like people are comparing it to the Packers thing, but Aaron Rodgers was on that team for 10 plus years and won a Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins has not even played a single down for the
No.
Falcons. So automatically this just there's no way that this can turn out positive. There's no route. The only route where this turns out positive is if Kirk Cousins gets hurt. If he's
And
healthy the whole time,
yeah.
it's not going to be positive. How could it be?
Well, because then Penix is off his rookie contract. Yeah, I just don't get it, dude.
Or you bench Kirk Cousins and have $40 million just sitting on the bench.
Yep. And I mean, this segues into my last point of what you just said. You just started off the relationship with Kirk Cousins off rocky. This is a rocky relationship to start off on now.
Yeah,
there was no chance to make a happy relationship. There was no chance to, build trust. All that's like already off to a rocky start. What a terrible way to. I don't know, man. I don't get it.
Like, what if he played? What if Penix is playing so good that Kirk Cousins he has to get benched? What if he plays that good? Like from training camp and the preseason, in practice, he's truly that good. That would be a bad situation. Like that would be really bad.
It would be because then, like I said, you're paying Kirk Cousins this money. Then Penix, after his rookie contract, is going to want this money. Like if he does go off, you're not going to have money. You got to pay. You got these offensive drafts you used. You have to pay them at some point. I don't know. It's a head scratcher.
They get paid the big bucks.
Yep, they do. All right. Speaking of people getting paid the big bucks, we got some other GMs that decided to go the quarterback route. I kind of just want to go in the order that they were drafted. I just have a couple things to say about each. I just want to get your opinions on each as well. And I know that you will have a lot to say, or maybe we'll have a lot to say about Bo Nix. But let's just go down with the quarterbacks. The second overall pick in this year's draft was LSU's quarterback Jaden Daniels to the Washington Commanders. I think it's a great pick for the Commanders, especially with Cliff Kingsbury as your leading that offense. You know the kind of quarterbacks he likes. I mean, you saw him with Kyle Murray. He coached Patrick Mahomes. He likes a quarterback that can move. He likes a quarterback that can be mobile. He likes a quarterback with a big arm. This is a perfect fit for them. He will have to learn, though, to slide. This dude is a competitor.
No, he's got hit some of the craziest ways I've ever seen. No exaggeration. That's what I'm saying. Like literal, body contorted.
Yeah, there was a game in college. I can't remember what game, but he got in the air and was like,
that was Ole Miss. He flipped him in the air.
Yep.
Literally flipped him in the air. Like you can't.
Bro, you can't be doing that in the NFL.
You don't want to do that. You don't want Fred Warner hitting you like that.
No. And I mean, just look at quarterbacks that kind of are his frame or kind of like his style. RG3, Anthony Richardson, those guys got hurt, man. Those guys wanted to go 100% every time.
It's not funny. It's not funny games, man.
That's what I'm saying.
That will end your career.
He needs to learn, it's okay to slide or it's okay, just to go down. Other than that, though, I think it's going to be a great fit in the sense I think him and Kingsbury will get along. He's grown season after season too, in college. So that's great to see. It's good to see that he's actually taken huge steps. Actually, that's what got him to the second pick is what he did in the combine and obviously last season. I mean, it's the Commanders, 5-7 wins.
I just looked it up. Sam Howell got sacked more than any quarterback last year. He got sacked 68 times.
That's what's scary, man.
Even if he does stay in the pocket, I mean, there is no pocket. There's not a pocket for him to stand in.
That's what I'm saying. You either got to go down or you somehow got to move. But then, once you get out, which is what's good about bringing him in is that he is a mobile quarterback and he can maybe get out of those situations. But yeah, dude, you can't take the big hits. Besides that, is there anything that you like? Is this a good pick you think for the Commanders?
Yeah, I mean, you got to go receiver or got to go quarterback. So it's literally between him and Drake May, but. I think I said this a couple pods ago when we were talking about the draft. I said I would take Daniels number 2 for that same reason. I think that his ability to move when there's nothing there, he has to be able to make something. There's going to be some point in the season where he's going to have to create plays on his own off script just because of how bad his offensive line is. And I think if he was statue in the pocket, he wouldn't be able to do that. He has some good receivers. Scary Terry's there. So, I mean, like you said, 5-7 wins. I don't really expect much. This is a guy that's just he'll probably have a true developing rookie season, some flashes, probably some terrible plays.
As long as he doesn't get hurt
that much. Yeah.
No, I agree. Third overall pick, Drake May, North Carolina's Drake May to the New England Patriots. To be honest, on this one, I'm not expecting much, man. Not this first year. I see you kind of look at me weird a little bit. Not this first year. They don't have anyone worth mentioning to throw to. He's only played 2 seasons in college where they went 9-5 and 8-5. I mean, he does have the ideal body, however. Okay, so I hope you hope that plays out. You hope he gets those mechanics, like you said. He hasn't played in too many college games, so he's still fresh to kind of work with. And there's not much to expect this first year because it's the Patriots. Like I just mentioned, they have no one worth throwing to. Tyrone.
No, they don't. They do have
So
Tyquan Thornton though. He's from Baylor. He has my last name. I know he's really fast. He has a 97 speed on Madden. I know
there you
that.
go.
But
So
I think that Drake May, he does. He's a speedster. He's fast. I said Thornton. Oh, gotta put him on my squad.
you're funny, dude.
Have to. I gotta break bread with the family. But Drake May
Gotta
would.
break.
I have to. I gotta put him on. If I see
Yeah.
T Thornton, man, we automatically there's love there. There's love there.
He'll find a spot on the team. He'll find a spot on the table.
All the time. I got you, man. But Drake May, what surprised me a lot is he was kind of the victim of the draft cycle. I feel like a couple months ago or even last year, Drake May was a lot closer than Caleb Williams in people's minds. And now we kind of drifted away from that. And I kind of still think he is that special prospect. And I think that him falling into the Patriots' arms, I don't like that. I don't like that. I feel like they kind of got lucky with this one. I think they got lucky with this one. And I think that when we look back on this, when I say there's going to be quarterbacks that are special, in between those are going to be quarterbacks that are bad. And I think historically this may be a situation where we're like, all right, there's Caleb Williams. Okay, we expected that. Then Daniels, question mark, then Drake May. So, like, I think that the Patriots kind of got away with this one. I seen that somebody offered, I think the Giants offered to trade up with him, and they turned it down. It was 3 first-round picks.
Yep,
so,
they said they weren't giving away
like,
that
nah,
third.
we're good.
So they have trust, and like I said, he has the ideal body. He showed flashes. He is able to be worked on. I think there's some fun to be had with Drake May. So, but this first year, don't expect anything.
No, I don't expect expectations. I mean, the Patriots suck. They're probably one of the
that's what I'm saying. They don't
this year, and they beat the Broncos on Christmas Eve. But actually, you see how things like that are just insane.
It's insane.
And that was the last game Russell Wilson played for the Broncos because he ruined the people in Denver and my Christmas. Thank you a lot, Russell Wilson.
The Grinch.
Basically, essentially.
Yeah. All right, we got 2 more quarterbacks to get through. Here's a fun one. J.J. McCarthy to the Minnesota Vikings with the 10th pick from Michigan. J.J. McCarthy's from Michigan. This one, it's a struggle to digest for me. Here's a stat. I don't know if you knew this. In last season at Michigan, he averaged just 22 pass attempts a game. That's it. Just 22. That's all they wanted him for. On average, we just want you to go throw 22. We'll run the rest of the time. You don't do that in the NFL. You pass.
You especially with Justin Jefferson on your team.
That's what I'm saying.
Jordan Addison.
Pass.
You pass the ball.
You pass.
And TJ Hawkinson. You pass the ball.
Yep. I will say, though, I just said that. That worries me. However, every team has a plan. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the Vikings are the first team to ever have a development plan for their quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. But they do. They have this set plan. He has to meet these criteria before he can even move up a tier in the depth chart. He has to meet this before he can even see the field. He has to do this before he can even stand next to the coach on the sideline type of stuff. I like that. I think that's good for him. They're not going to rush him. They're not also going to, slow him down and ruin his development there. I honestly think that they just want him to kind of be a Brock Purdy type right now.
I was going to say that same words. That's all you got to do. You don't got to do nothing. Just play the position, and we'll figure all the other things out.
You threw 22 attempts in college, and you led an undefeated season. Go out there. We'll build your we'll build your confidence early with some dump downs, a couple 7 yards down the field, something quick, get his confidence up, and then he generates those. You get in second and short, third and short. It's easy. Then you get a first down. You generate it. You keep
Coach
going.
said, pass the ball right here. So on this play, pass it to this player right there. This one
should be open.
He should be open. Don't do nothing else.
It's as simple as that. So I'm not sure he'll start. We'll see. I wouldn't expect too much too early, but I think he's going to be vital to their success in the next 2 to 3 years.
That's the spot you want to be in, though.
It is.
As a quarterback, I would love to come into a spot like, all right, man, I got no expectations really. Just chill out.
So So in my eyes, as long as the system stays, or my thinking of they want him to be a Brock Purdy type, and that works out, I think he'll be fine. I think
And
he'll do
he has the
well.
weapons. You have
But
Justin. Just throw it to Justin Jefferson. You could
yep,
do
but
that. Throw it to him 22 times.
if that scheme changes, literally, you might as well. But if that scheme changes, whether it's like a new head coach comes in, new OC or something, you start changing how you want him to play. That might mess with him. But it seems like me and you here agree that this is kind of what to expect of JJ McCarthy here.
Yeah, it's just he just has to find his way with his coaches. He just has. I know this sounds so basic and regular, but as long as he listens to his coaches, follows the path they're setting for him, it'll be fine. I'm assuming they don't expect him to be a world changer to go out
No,
there and make plays on the fly. Just listen to what coach says, and you'll be fine. Do what exactly like you said. Do exactly what you did at Michigan. We'll just do that with better players around you on offense.
yeah, and it's like it's hard to say that when it's like, well, that's a top 10 pick. What do you mean you don't? No, he just has to go out there,
Just do his job. Just
do
do your
his job.
job. Just do your job. That's it.
That's what they need right now. All right, here's a fun one because you are a Broncos fan. 12th overall pick, Oregon's Bo Nix to the Denver Broncos. Broncos, dude, they had to get a quarterback. That quarterback room was actually abysmal
Yeah.
before they added him.
Man.
Oh, but go ahead, take this. You take this one over.
Shout out to Bo Nix first off. A personal message to Bo Nix. Hey man, lock in. You can change the world, man. I believe in you. If you have one believer in the world right now, it's me. We got mad love, support. I'm actually gonna buy your jersey pretty soon. But anyways, Bo Nix, man, we did reach for him, but we're kind of in a position where we have to. We
Yeah, it
couldn't
was a
wait.
tad of a reach,
We
but
don't. We didn't have a second round pick, so we were gonna have to wait
yep, had
till
to.
the third round to take a quarterback. And at that point, who knows if he's still there? Another team could reach on him late first round, middle of the second round. We don't know. So we had to take him. But I do like it because his biggest player comp is Drew Brees, which obviously is Sean Payton's guy. He does get a lot of flack for his older age and being pretty old as well, played 6 years. Also, he led the NCAA in completion percentage, but he also had his yards per pass are pretty short. Oregon was throwing a lot of dinks and dunks. A lot of people don't really think he has that true deep field accuracy. But I think kind of what you said about, being Brock Purdy, that is kind of what Bo Nix has to do. Truly, if the Broncos think if Sean Payton is as good as he promotes himself to be, and if the Broncos traded picks for him and Sean Payton is saying this and saying that, he should be able to put Bo Nix in a situation to where he can be like Brock Purdy.
Yep.
So I don't think Brock Purdy or not. I don't think Bo Nix has to reinvent the wheel. As long as he shows us that he is good enough to get his second contract, he will be a success because the Broncos have not had a quarterback like that in years, literally years. Not one since Peyton Manning's left, and he's not even the guy we drafted. So we have not had a guy get to his second contract and really be our franchise quarterback in so long. I can give you a 10 list of quarterbacks of not Drew Brees, Drew Lock, Bridgewater, Lynch. Go. We can go all the way back to Tim Tebow. Literally all the way back to Tim Tebow. Like literally, that's 13 years ago of this guy just cycling in. Like, all right, maybe. So as long as he can show me that, hey, we can get to the second contract, I think that we'll put ourselves in a position to be well.
Yep, and I think a lot of it too is yes, you could anybody could say, well, yeah, duh, you want your quarterback to be a Brock Purdy type. It works. Why would you want any of your quarterback to be like that? Now, obviously, you have some outsiders like Mahomes and Lamar who can make plays outside of, but it's like you also have to have that coach that's smart enough to set you up for these plays and to tell you where to go. And Sean Payne is one of those coaches that is smart enough to do that. So I mean, I agree with you. It was a reach, but they had to. I'm not expecting too much from him. I know you probably don't want to hear that from me, but I'm not expecting anything crazy. I think he could come in there and do what Sean Payton needs him to do. I don't think he ever gets to a Drew Brees type. I'm not saying that's necessarily what you were saying. You just said that's his what he's being compared to as like a ceiling. I don't think he gets there. but you guys needed it. He's better than anyone you had.
He's yeah. I
I'm not
mean,
gonna lie. He's gonna
like
be better than anyone you had
my comparison to him is
right now.
he should be better than Drew Lock. That is
I
my
can see that.
comparison. Drew Lock took, I think he was the first pick in the second round, so
Hmm.
similar level. So they're probably similar level of where Bo Nix is actually supposed to be drafted. But I do think that if the Broncos can, I think the quarterback position has to get right. But I do think that organizationally, if we can make the right moves and come out of this Russ situation correct, that if he doesn't even have to reinvent the wheel, just play well enough, just play well
Yep.
enough. And I do think that I do think I don't know. Sean Payton set up Russell Wilson to have a great season last year, even though he's not our quarterback anymore. Statistically speaking, he had a great year. Now, if Bo
Yeah,
Nix can replicate that, which I would like to think that Bo Nix is going to be better than Russell Wilson next year. I would really, really, really like that.
I think just a new relationship, for
Yeah.
Sean Payton,
Also, like
and
you were saying, Sean Payton is like, he's supposed to, I'm not gonna say how I feel about Sean Payton. I was loving him at first, but now I'm cooling down because the entire time Russell Wilson, he kept saying, and everybody's saying like Sean Payton's offense is so complex. Sean Payton's offense is this and that. Sean Payton, blah blah blah. Russell Wilson's not getting it. So there's two things that can happen right now. It's even you're going to continue to say with Bo Nix, "Oh, this offense is so hard, it's not complicated." Well, if your offense is that hard and that complicated, it don't work then, man. If it's that
yep,
hard and complicated, it don't work. Or the second option is that you can even Bo Nix gets it immediately, or you simplify it for him. You can't just keep saying that your offense is complicated. What does that mean? My offense is just complicated. They not getting it. Well, them plays don't work, man. Them plays don't work if it's that complicated.
it's I would say most of the time too. It's we don't have the enough talent to do the
Like, yeah,
plays that
okay,
they want.
theoretically, yeah, this place should work. But come on, man. But also,
Yeah.
speaking of talent, according to PPF, they gave Broncos a draft class at A minus. So we
Yep.
killed the draft class. We got.
Let's say, was there anything else that
Oh yeah,
you were
we got
impressed?
Franklin, the receiver from Oregon as well too. We got him in the fourth round. He was projected to be the second round talent. So that shows me they truly do believe in Bo Nix. If you're willing to draft his receiver from college,
Yep.
get him on this team. That's fantastic. I love that. After that
Already some
happened, yeah,
Yeah,
already
already
some
some early
connection right there.
connection.
Yeah,
Yep.
right there. He'll be a probably a receiver number three. Oh, man, let him be the receiver number one. I don't care. If he could be the best receiver on the team, let him be the best receiver on the team. Throw it to him
Yeah.
as much as you want.
Yeah. I think, like I said, it was they. I felt like the Broncos hit what they needed to. Yes, their first one was a reach. They had to. Otherwise, they picked up the pieces where best available with what they had. Because, like you said, not even a second round pick. Last thing I want to talk about, I'll make it quick. Xavier Worthy to the Chiefs. Great pick for them. I wanted them to go offensive tackle position first. I'm always protect Mahomes. Mahomes could throw to anyone. We saw that last season. He'll be fine. You could pick up the receiver class was so deep this year. You could have picked up a receiver second, third. But whatever. They got Xavier Worthy. He's a Tyree type of player, just not as strong. But he kind of makes the same great plays that Tyreek does, but then drops the ball. And it's like, come on, bro, catch that. You know what I mean? So the speed, the fastest 40-yard dash ever recorded at the combine. You have Hollywood Brown now. Those two. Tyrone, I said this fact on air when I was going over the draft coverage, and I don't want to mess up the stat now, but it was something like Hollywood Brown since 2020 has like the second most routes where he's reached 20 miles per hour on. And the Chiefs receiver room last season, only 5 times a receiver reached 20 miles per hour on a route. So Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, speedsters, they stretch the field. And then you got Travis Kelce, who just signed an extension. You got to worry about him in the middle of the field. So now you got two deep. You got to worry about him in the middle. You got to worry about Mahomes is taking off. It's slowest, greatest runner I've ever seen in my life. Mahomes is. You got Pacheco in the backfield that you have to worry about. Depending on what happens to Rice, let's say he gets suspended 6 games, he comes back for the remainder of the year. He was looking good last year. This offense is scary again. It was a great pickup. They ended up getting an offensive tackle later on. we'll see how that turns out. You never know with tackles later on in the rounds and how well they do. But I think it was a great pickup for the Chiefs. I don't know
Uh,
if you have too much to say on it, but
I do as well too. I have a lot to say about this pick, but not from the Chiefs' perspective. I want to let inform the other 31 teams in the league, especially the Buffalo Bills. It would be in your best interest
oh,
to
yep,
not make trades with the Kansas City
stupid.
Chiefs. Why would you make a trade with a team that just won 2 Super Bowls in a row? If they have to make something shake, they let them figure it out on their own. Let them do it because most of the time, they're obviously they know what they're doing. Obviously, so like, why would I don't understand that? I would never do that. I would never trade with
No,
a team that just won. But I think it's a great pick for him. He's a fast dude. I mean, he's a receiver. He's even if he drops 50% of these balls, as we can see with the Chiefs, they had the most drops this year. It doesn't matter.
it
It
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
That's a good point.
He does it literally. They had the most drops. So as long as this guy is getting open, he's gonna catch it more than he's gonna catch the ball at some point, and it's gonna be a touchdown. If you like, that's I just maybe I'm simplifying it too much, but like I obviously he just did it like you said with no receivers,
Yeah,
and we're giving him a chance to get better receivers, guys. Like the rest of the NFL, I don't
yeah.
get it, man. I don't
And
get it.
this guy has potential. Everyone sees the talent. Like I said, he had the fastest 40-yard dash. Like you said, if anything, he drops half the time.
Like
Not Tyreek
50%.
didn't drop half the time, but like you know what I mean. It's like Tyreek dropped some, and then he would go, and you would just throw it down again, 80 yards, and he'd be there. Forget that last drop. I just ran 80 yards.
Like yeah,
I just made a crazy play.
I think sometimes
No,
to be successful, you don't have to be the smartest in the room. You just can't be the stupidest. Which,
someone at work said that to me the other day. They said, while the Chiefs are just blessed with talent, coaching, quarterback, tight end, defensive coordinator. Yes, they have talented people. Also, the other people around them, besides the Bills per se, but like the Buffalo, what we just saw, they're they're being stupid, and it's helping the Chiefs. So
man, hopefully he doesn't play that well and like he sucks.
it'll be, yeah. I
I'll
mean,
be honest. I need him to be like Sky Moore. Him and Sky Moore need to work out together.
he'll start this first year. That's funny because the Chiefs. I was just gonna say the Chiefs are known to. You get a receiver, you're starting this next year because we usually don't have a lot just lined up. So I'm expecting him to start. It's gonna be fun to see. Anything else you want to say about this draft before I wrap this up? I know some NBA games are about to start that we want to get to because we're gonna make a quick take episode over that soon. But anything you want to say about the draft?
All the players that are drafted by the Broncos, y'all can be the ones that change it all.
Could be.
Hey, you guys can be the ones to change it all. For real, make the Broncos great again, man. Come on.
Make them great again. Get the shirts ready, print the flags, do it all. All right. That was episode 11 of For What It's Worth. Me and Tyrone. That's with the dynamic duo, getting it done, talking everything from quarterbacks to Broncos picks to Chiefs picks. It was a good time. You can follow us on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. We're everywhere. Just type in For What It's Worth. If that doesn't work, type in at FWIW Sports Pod. That should work. Go ahead, like I said, leave a like, a comment, subscribe, follow, whatever platform you're on. Just do whatever it takes. Send the links to all your friends, families, dogs, cats, grandmas, whatever. Tyrone, anything you want to say before we officially end this?
Hey, y'all, don't be surprised. For real, do not be surprised when you see on your screen Lakers Nuggets going to Game 7. Don't be surprised.
You
Don't be
should be
surprised.
surprised.
Don't be
You should be
surprised.
surprised if you see that. Well, we'll talk. We'll come back to that, Ty, on the quick take episode. We'll see. We'll see if there is even a possibility for a Game 7. All right, Calvin Silvers, Tyrone Thornton. Until next time, have a good one.